Hi there! Emily Midget here with you today, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be back as a guest for the W+9 channel. I have always been fascinated by the depth that you can achieve with layer upon layer of watercolor. The transparency of this medium allows for you to add so many different undertones and overtones to your images. For today's technique, I wanted to try something a bit different. Simply put, you create a loose ethereal background, then add your stamped image over the top, finally adding your shading details in a more controlled way. I had fun experimenting with a new-to-me way of watercoloring, so let's get started with the details. To start, I taped my panel of watercolor paper over to a cutting board, which helps prevent warping, especially when I'm using this amount of liquid on the paper. I find it useful to use good watercolor paper when doing this technique because there are lots of layers and lots of liquid to be absorbed, and you don't want pilling. While the paper is still shiny and saturated with water, I drop in a few different colors of Daniel Smith watercolors. When doing this technique, I try to use colors that will play nicely together, colors that will blend and not make an unattractive, muddy mess. For this entire project, I used only 4 colors: quinacridone lilac, naphthalide maroon, quinacridone purple, and indanthrone blue. I maneuvered the color around a bit, adding a bit more here, taking some away there, until I was satisfied with the overall feel. Before heat embossing your stamped image on the watercolored panel, you want to ensure that your panel is completely dry. You can either allow it to air dry, or if you're as impatient as I am, you can zap it with your heat gun. I leave it taped to the cutting board until it is bone dry to keep the paper nice and flat. I treated my panel with anti-static powder, then heat embossed the beautiful floral swag from W+9's Kind Soul stamp set using silver embossing powder. The next step was to begin adding details to the stamped image. I began by adding quinacridone lilac to the anemones in the floral swag. I wanted to allow some of the multiple mottled blended colors to show through, so I added some dark saturated color where the shadows would be deepest, then cleaned my brush, dabbed it on my stamp chamois, and pulled the color out with the bristles facing away from me and the back of the brush almost touching the petal. I want to keep the new color concentrated in the center of the flower, allowing the edges of the petals to remain the subtle, multicolored first layer. I frequently cleaned my brush to keep the pigment movement as controlled as possible. You'll notice me removing my brush frequently from the camera frame. Each time I am cleaning the tip of my brush, whether it's because I have too much water or pigment on the brush. Using your stamp chamois is perfect for keeping your brush clean. For me, this method of adding color allows me to create some more natural color variations in each flower. Flowers in nature have numerous undertones depending on the light and just the natural makeup of the flower. I have found that painting on a plain white surface can make some of my flowers a little flat because I find myself using the same watercolors on each petal. In my opinion, having these mottled, multicolored blends peeking out from the undertones of each flower helps to add just a touch of dimension and uniqueness to the flower. Once my anemones were complete, I added indanthrone blue to the petunias. These flowers tend to have the color saturated towards the edges of the petal rather than the interior, so I add the color around the outside and then pull the color out towards the center of the flower with my clean paintbrush. I pull and push the color back and forth with my clean brush until I achieve a smooth fade for each petal. This deep blue mixes quite nicely with the other pinks and purples, and the transparency of the watercolors themselves still allows that first layer of watercolor to show through, making each flower its own unique shade. As a general rule, I'm a bit of a realist when it comes to coloring flowers. I like to try to stick with colors that would be found in nature, but every once in a while I have to tweak that rule just a bit, like I've done with the foliage on this swag. If I added green to these pinks and purples, it would create a muddy mess. So instead, I added naphthalide maroon and a mixture of the quinacridone purple and indanthrone blue to the two different types of foliage. After I'd completed all of the coloring, I heat embossed a greeting from So Very onto some pretty purple shimmer cardstock. I first added plenty of anti-static powder to the die cut, then stamped with Versamark using my MISTI for good placement. After allowing my heat gun to warm up, I heated up the embossing powder. I adhered the sentiment die cut and coordinating sentiment strip using some foam tape. I trimmed the outer edges of the panel down to add a deep purple mat around the edge, and for a final touch, added a few iridescent jewels. Well, that's all for me today. I hope I've inspired you to add lots of layers of color to your watercolor pieces. Thank you so much to Dawn for having me back as a guest. If you'd like to see more details about the project or product links, click on the description below or head over to the W+9 blog. And if you liked this project, head over to my blog, emilymidget.com. Thank you so much for watching and have a marvelous day.